Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing a movie review of Mortal Kombat's Battle of the Realms. Of course, this is the new Mortal Kombat animated movie made by Warner Brothers, so a sequel to Scorpion's Revenge. But the real question right now is it a worthy sequel to the first animated movie, or does it fall short? Well, let's talk about it here. Now, before we jump right into things, I do want to say that basically the first half of this will be non-spoilers. I'll talk about aspects of the film I enjoyed as well as give it a rating and whether or not I can recommend it, but after doing that I will be jumping into the spoiler section of the film and go a bit more in depth about things I liked and disliked and how I feel about the product overall, because there's a lot that goes on in this movie, and I think it succeeds in many different areas whilst faltering in others. Now, first things first, do I think it's a worthy sequel to Scorpion's Revenge? Well, as a sequel to Scorpion's Revenge, yes, for sure. They play on many different plot arcs and ideas that have been planted in the first film that do come to fruition in the second. However, the biggest sin about this film is that it is very bloated. You really feel that 90-minute runtime, as there's so much going on. There's about 4 or 5, or hell, if you want to break it down, 6 different plot arcs that are all threading and interweaving between each other, and the film does feel a bit bloated because of that. Sadly, due to so much going on in the films and its action sequences, which are actually very good, we'll talk about that later, it leaves a void of character development. There are a lot of characters in this film that do not have character, and unfortunately, many of the main characters really suffer for it. I think because of that, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, it won't bother you so much because you're already quite familiar with the characters. But I think for newer viewers and people who are unfamiliar with the universe, it's gonna feel kind of jarring. You're gonna see characters that are gonna be like, oh, that guy's cool, he's dead. And I think that's gonna be quite a common occurrence, which is a shame. I feel if you're already introduced to the characters, you can go in and enjoy this for sure. It does a lot with the source material and a lot with fan service, mind you, but I don't think it quite executes it well, and it really doesn't stick the landing too great, I'll be honest. The last 20 minutes of the movie is where it dangerously kind of, I think the best way I can put it is it strays a little bit into fan fiction. Now, because of my familiarity with the universe, it doesn't really bother me too much, but when even I can see that there are too many cooks in the kitchen, there's a problem, because the build-up doesn't pay off in the resolution, and that is sadly the film's biggest sin. Now, with story kind of being the weaker point here, what do I think about the characters we do have here? Well, I can pleasantly say that it's good that we have a great diverse amount of characters. You know, it was really nice seeing the likes of Li Mei and Reiko after so long. I'm a really big fan of Li Mei's redesign here. It feels like a great mix and blend of her deception and Deadly Alliance costume. I hope that we do see her return in the future with this design specifically. I really like it. Now, with that said, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the lack of characterization was solely done due to have characters add to the body count. Jesus Christ, is there a fucking body count in this film? So I get why a lot of the characters haven't been given development, but even the main ones don't really get that much, which is a tragic shame. Again, I'm not trying to spoiler too much about it, but I would have loved to have seen more interactions or a bit of a relationship be built between Kung Lao and Liu Kang. You know, the Shaolin monks of the series. You got a spin-off game. Do something with him, man. It's nice to have his inclusion here, I just wish there was more. I hope that doesn't make me sound too greedy with, you know, who I liked in this movie. Another thing that I thought was really good was exploring the relationship between Raiden and Liu Kang. You know, MK9 did a pretty job of exploring their relationship, and in 11 we see that get fixed a fair bit. Here we don't get to explore it too much, but the stuff that we do have here it's really good. We get to see a bit of a father-son relationship and dynamic kind of go on, and unlike MK9 where they really did hate each other, this it goes in the complete opposite direction and in the best way possible. You know, there's a lot of concern between the two with the stakes at hand, and I wish we would have seen more of that. There's a lot I like here, and it does fall short, and it makes me sad. Because the stuff we have here is good, but it could be better. Other characters that I really did like in this movie, Johnny pretty much stole the show for the most part in every scene he was in. The man's very quippy. I think it's Joe McHale. He does a fantastic job of portraying the character. The writers who are handling the use of Johnny Cage are doing a great job with him. Props to Joe McHale and the writers for getting that right for sure. I feel like Sonya also really helps her because she's very grounded and stoic. So whenever he steps out of line or is being too much of a dick, she kind of compliments his character by bringing him back down to earth. And she's a badass in this film. She's really cool. This might be my favorite interpretation of Sonya, at least outside the main medium of games. Jax is Jax. He gets his moments to shine, but they're very here and there. Kung Lao and Stryker are a very nice inclusion, but I wish there was more going on with Kung Lao. I liked that Stryker was there. He feels like the very fish out of water character. So whilst I'm 110% not a fan of Stryker, it was cool to have him here at the very least. The villain side, there's not much to really say. Again, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you know that they're mostly around to add to the body count, but it was cool to have a lot of the characters here nonetheless. I think it was really nice. Shao Kahn here feels like a legitimate threat, but I do like how a lot of stuff panned out of that character. Now, with me kind of talking about that, what can I say about the animation and the film itself? Well, it's really pretty. I don't know what it is about the somewhat simplistic art style, but it feels like a callback to the early 2000s with like the Star Wars, Clone Wars animated saga and with influence of Samurai Jack. I really do love that art style, and it's on full display here. You know, I love the use of the harsh blacks on the contrast of colors because it helps make costumes pop. I really love the art style here, and it works so incredibly well with the color palette and the world itself. We get to see so much about Outworld, and it's very interesting. We get to see this barren, desolate wasteland controlled by this cruel dictator. Then we jump to scenes of Earthrealm which are far more modern, and it shows how different the two worlds really are. It's really good stuff, and they did a fantastic job of making this world feel alive. That's one of the strongest aspects that this animated series has done. The world feels like it's alive. It feels like there's stuff going on outside the tournament with those who might not even know much about it. Let's talk about what you're all here for. Fatalities, gore, X-rays. The film earns its age rating without a doubt. People are getting decapitated, eviscerated, disintegrated, everything. And because of that, it does feel like Mortal Kombat. It does a really good job of kind of earning that Mortal Kombat mantle of not being afraid to kill off characters and making Mortal Kombat and death feel like it matters. Because when people die, Jesus Christ, do they die? And it is gruesome, and it's awful, and it's horrific to watch in every sense of the word, which is what it should be. So I feel like it really earns that very well. The stylistic choices and uses of X-rays here are phenomenal. I loved the use of X-rays in the last film, and they do a fantastic job here. It adds so incredibly much to a scene and a fight sequence, as it adds emphasis on battle damage and the wear and tear that goes on in this combat. Now, in saying that, the film isn't perfect by any means. So now that we've talked about the pros, the main cons of the film is that it juggles way too many plot lines. As I pointed out earlier, there's like 4 to 6 different plot lines going on, and in a 90-minute movie, if you're familiar with the characters, you're gonna have a good time. If you aren't familiar with the characters, you are 100% being thrown into the deep end. They use a lot of terminology here that I'm familiar with, and I do like to hear and see as it's fan service, but there are some that they just aren't gonna get it. Now, I've only had one viewing of the film, and I have to say that from start to finish, whilst I enjoyed the ride that was there, there's too much going on. And I feel because of that, it takes away from a lot of other opportunities that would kind of exist in this film if there just wasn't so much there. You know, we could explore character relationships, build up certain characters so deaths do matter, maybe explore a little bit of the outworld side of things and how it works in the terms of its politics. You know, since Scorpion's Revenge, we've been pointing out that Kitana does not like Shao Kahn. There's seeds there for something really special, but it's completely swept under the rug with other plot lines that just get thrown in from kind of out of nowhere because they want more characters in here. Now, my next gripe is the voice actor of Sub-Zero. I'm not saying he's bad or terrible by any means, but he's in many scenes with Scorpion, who's played by Patrick Seitz, and Patrick Seitz, he's Scorpion to me. He owns that role. He's very good at what he does. And when you have these two voice actors with each other, kind of like bouncing off each other, they're both very nice and very good, but one's going to outshine the other. Now, I will say that the last 20 or 25 minutes of this film feels like it's dangerously overstepping itself. The end fight sequence kind of pushes through the realm into Dragon Ball, and I don't mind that. Honestly, it was really fucking cool. That last fight sequence in the Colosseum is great, but everything after that, where did that come from? I don't really agree with the last section of the movie. There's a lot I actually like about it, believe it or not, but it feels like it could have been its own thing. Now, with that said, I'm going to give this movie a rating, and then we're going to jump onto the spoiler section. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being okay, give it a watch, I would probably give Battle of the Realms a 6.5 to maybe a 7 if I'm feeling quite generous. Again, remember, this is coming off only one viewing. I haven't watched it multiple times, but I wanted to do this review after one viewing to kind of give you my honest opinions and feelings on the film, because there's stuff I really like about it, but there's also a lot of baggage that has been strung to it. It's gonna be mixed and diverse amongst everyone, but I think that any Mortal Kombat fan can go and watch this and come away loving something about it. I think the best way to put this film is that it has a little bit of everything for everyone, but in turn suffers from a lack of a cohesive plot that can thread through each other with an appropriate runtime. There's a lot to like here, but when you try to cater to everyone, you're unable to cater to anyone. Like, I really love the idea of animated Mortal Kombat movies, but please don't have fan service overcrowd a cohesive plot. That is what this film suffers from. So, like I said, it's a 6.5 to 7. My score might change after a second viewing. It may go higher, it may go lower. I don't know. This is just my general opinion after watching it once. I'm sure if I watch it a second time around, I'll be able to pick up on like smaller details here and there. But so far, I think that if you haven't watched it, please do stop this video and go and watch it. Please do support this, as I would love to see more animated Mortal Kombat movies in the future, but we're gonna have to wait and see, especially with how this film does conclude. Now, with that said, let's jump on to the spoiler section of this review. This is your last warning. 3, 2, 1, and go. And why is this plot so bloated? Why is so much happening? I really like a lot about this movie, but fucking Christ, why is there so much shit going on? Like, it's infuriatingly annoying that there's so much going on. And it's not because I hated it. My main problem is that it felt like each of these different plot threads could have been their own movies. The Mortal Kombat 2 section could have been its own movie. As I had mentioned, could have done great character development with Earthrealmers, could have explored the outworld side of things with Kitana kind of being the main character for them. So we see this contrast between, oh, this is what happens when our main heroes die. That's really sad. How does that work for the outworld side of things? Because we don't really strictly see it, but it is implied that Jade is killed by Liu Kang. Like, we get nothing from that, and again, it adds layers for characters that don't feel like the characters. It feels like they're cannon fodder, and I get it, it's Mortal Kombat, but when every character feels like cannon fodder, you have a problem. I think the inclusion of Shinnok is cool. Of course, we had hints of that all the way from the first movie, and I do like we did see a form of resolution to that story, but probably in the most rushed way possible. So Shinnok's whole thing is he is the mad god who wants revenge on the elder gods, but is willing to become the one being in order to do so. So they reincorporate the idea of Kamidogus from Mortal Kombat Deception, which I'm like, alright, that's good fan service. Why is the one being and this entire arc being crammed in with this Mortal Kombat 2 arc? Because now you have two really big conflicting stories, with only one of them being resolved in what felt like a rather satisfying manner, whilst the end curve of it, with the one being, felt like it was really underwhelming. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought that the merge was fucking cool. That was really neat to see. We actually have not seen that properly. That was great. And the fact we actually got to see what, you know, the one being or an interpretation of the one being looks like, that was great. I really, really enjoyed that. But again, as I mentioned, it's cohesive storytelling. It's just, there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this. That is my main problem. I feel like you could have saved the entire section with Shinnok and the one being for its own separate film. I feel like that could have been a third film. And the fact that we got it here in an already very compact narrative, I don't feel like it was handled well. And I think what makes me more sad is how this movie ends. It felt like we are done now, that's it, there's no more after this, which makes me want to pull out my hair, because I'm staring at what feels like 4 to 5 movies and we're done now. So I can't lie, that has strongly tainted my opinion of this movie. I loved a lot of it, but man, it feels like a lot was wasted here, and it makes me sad, especially for those who have been waiting for the one being ever since Deception. I'm still waiting for the one being, and in a way I'm glad we got to see a fraction of the one being's power here, but it really does deserve its own thing. And we could have got a really good animated trilogy if it was explored. Moving away from my rant about that, let's talk about the Fire and Ice and the somewhat Cyber Initiative arc. I'm really mixed on this. I like how the Cyber Initiative started out. I thought it was great. I was like, wow, the Grandmaster's kind of a dick. He's really forcing this onto people. And we get to see a new way how they're kind of like transforming people into cyborgs. Instead of jamming them into a blender and popping out a cyborg, they're literally like physically transforming them and breaking their minds by basically putting in what looks like, I don't know, USB ports into their face. It's really interesting, and I quite like this approach as it adds a bit of a horror element to the cyborgs. Every interaction between Scorpion and Sub-Zero here feels really good. We love the poster boys, but they never really get their time to shine, right? Here they're fighting against each other and they're working together, and we get a bit of a homage to Mortal Kombat 2 to 3, where Hanzo's very apologetic about what he had done to Bi-Han. It's kind of heartbreaking to see, because he sees so much about himself in Kuai Liang, and the monster that he had become because his vengeance was misplaced. It's a really, really good arc between the two, and again, as I pointed out much earlier on, I wish it had been explored. You know, in saying that though, we do get a fair bit of exposition between the two, but again, the resolution felt very abrupt. Also, before I quickly go to character deaths, the Lin Kuei Grandmaster is a fucking idiot. My goodness me, what a... Oh, the first part where we see the Lin Kuei Grandmaster, it's great. And then I find out how much of an absolute muppet he is. So he's basically taken on an anonymous job from an anonymous person to go grab something he has no idea about to bring it back to the cellar. Now, yes, I get it, that might be the job of a mercenary, right? But I gotta know at least something about what I'm getting. I at least gotta know something about the guy that's paying me, right? The Grandmaster doesn't even know who Shinnok is. They don't even know that they're taking the Kamidogu. The guy is in literal hell. You teleported to hell, and you took a job from this dude in hell? Why? Sorry, it's that entire plot is so mind-numbingly stupid to me. Like, I would have got it if the Grandmaster was falsely promised to work at Shinnok's side or maybe be his right-hand man after Quan Chi had died. But no, not even that. He's just an idiot. Doesn't know it's Shinnok, doesn't know that it's Kami Dogu. It's stupid. I don't like that part of the film. Now, one thing I want to compliment about this film is the death sequences, as well as the action as a whole, because Jesus Christ, it's really good. Like, the violence in this film is fantastic, it's bloody, it's brutal, it's relentless. It encapsulates the fighting spirit of Mortal Kombat, and damn it to hell, it earns it really well. I will say though, my god, I thought that the Striker death was like brutal and a slow burn, and then my boy Kung Lao was like, you want to see it get worse? I feel really bad for Lao. He gets it really bad here. And again, it sucks that he doesn't get any character development beforehand, because I know I'm supposed to care for him, but I kind of don't because he doesn't. But I know Kung Lao. F's in chat for Lao, my god. His inclusion was really nice, but he was definitely there, so that way his death meant something to Liu Kang later on. Also, since we're talking about Liu Kang, let's quickly touch on his relationship with Raiden. I feel like the great way to describe his relationship with Raiden in this film was very wholesome. Liu Kang's put in this very sensitive position where Raiden is now mortal and he can die. He feels hunger, he feels tired, he feels pain, and it adds stakes to the story because it means that now Liu has to care a lot more. At the very start of this movie, baby Liu's interaction with Raiden kind of paints him as this father figure, and we do see a fair bit of that here. I wish there was more of that. I really do. Also, I gotta say, props to Raiden here. Making Raiden mortal, I feel, was a really good decision. One of my biggest gripes with Raiden as a whole, as a character in the series, is that his passive role makes him so boring to be around, and that he just mutters away cliched dialogue. It's like the end of every Transformers movie, where Optimus mutters some cliched dialogue whilst Linkin Park plays. It makes me care about Raiden so much more. I really like what they did with him here, and I hope that the future series of games actually takes notes. Quickly touching back on Liu, his relationship with Katana was really forced and really weird. That came out of nowhere. Yeah, there's a bit of chemistry between the two, but most of the time they had been fighting. So his relationship with Katana, I wasn't feeling it in this film. It just wasn't for me. Not terrible, but I feel like when we have the relationship between Sonya and Johnny Cage, I feel like that was done really well here. Like, they're constantly bickering between the two. There's clearly a form of chemistry between them, even while Sonya may be very blunt in how she kind of shows her affection. It's clearly there. So I do like the dynamic that goes on between the two. I think that was done extremely well. And there's a lot of really nice homages, especially at the end there, where Sonya blows the kiss to the Tarkatan when he's got the grenade jammed in his mouth. Now, let's talk about that entire end sequence. And I love and I hate it. The climax of the film is where the film kind of loses me a fair bit. The Liu Kang and Shao Kahn fight is super dope. Like, I love that. That was really cool. Liu Kang breaking the curse on his left hand didn't really make much sense. I guess it was to add somewhat stakes to the story, but honestly, if we removed the curse, nothing much would have changed. Liu treats Shang like a bitch. That part was really cool. But yeah, there's a lot about the end sequence of the film that I like and I don't like. The film turning into Dragon Ball for a little bit, I'm like, feels a bit out of place. But in a series like Mortal Kombat, where people can block bullets and stand up after getting their spines, skulls, and eye holes ruptured, doesn't bother me too much. Definitely doesn't break my immersion. But what did is everything that followed after that sequence. As clearly pointed out from what you can tell, I did not like how they handled Shinnok and the One Being story. And then the film kind of goes off the rails. It feels like it has to force everything in one go. It's like Liu beats Shao Kahn, and then Liu becomes Elder God champion, and then he becomes a dragon, and then he has to fight the One Being, and then he has to separate reality, and then he's this golden god, and then he has to reset the time. Calm down. There's a certain point where you have to draw a line with how far you're really pushing the story, and this film thoroughly goes over that line at the very end. I know some might enjoy it because it's very fan servicey. I'm very happy to see the one being. It's really cool seeing the realms being merged together, but that entire sequence could have been a movie in itself. Lu's ascension to godhood is something I really like, but I feel like the film rushed it way too quickly. I feel like that's an egg they should sit on and let bake for a while. In saying that though, I did like a fair bit about that sequence. So I liked that even the smaller heroes had to get involved in the fray. Even if their participation was very small in the grand scheme of things, it showed that they weren't gonna go down without a fight. The one being, for the most part, looked incredibly strong, and I felt like if there was anyone to turn it into the Mortal Kombat dragon logo symbol, it had to have been Liu Kang. That symbol, it means something, and Liu Kang is the right person to do it with. It was the right idea executed in the wrong way. So with that being said, it brings us now to the end of this video and the end of the movie as a whole, and I don't really know how I feel about it. There's a lot I enjoy about it, and as I pointed out, I think there's a bit of something for everyone here, but it's too much. And I feel like what we saw here was a glimpse at a lot of really good source material executed too quickly with minimal development. The writing here is really good for characters when there is time for it. I feel like it succeeds in kind of being a Mortal Kombat movie, but it also fails in being something kind of new for newer fans, or people who are interested in characters from older games that are appearing here. And I honestly hope that this isn't the end. I think everyone's gonna have a different opinion about this movie. I just hope that if you do give it a watch, you can enjoy it yourselves. Please do not let my viewing experience taint yours. Have your own opinion about it. If you loved it, I'm glad you did. Please comment down below the things you loved about the film, the things you didn't like about the film, because this is simply mine and my own opinion. Please have your own opinion about this film. As with the live action movie, I want people to talk about this movie, so that way going forward we can get products that are better for this series. In my heart of hearts, I don't want Mortal Kombat movies to be trial and error, Jesus Christ, but there definitely needs to be a form of feedback that will benefit us in the future if we are going to get more Mortal Kombat media. Now, with that said, this has been it for my spoiler-free spoiler review of Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms. I hope you have enjoyed this and the movie itself. What did you think about it? Did you enjoy it? What were your gripes? Please do comment down below, as I really would love to hear all of your opinions. But please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, as well as subscribe and tick that bell. It will keep you up to date with all of my content, as well as some of the new stuff I do have in the pipeline, such as Mortal Kombat Who the Hell Was Kratos?, the forgotten guest character. For those of you who don't know, I will be incorporating a lot of God of War into this channel moving forward, starting as of the end of this week, so you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for that. I'm having a lot of fun talking about that video and what made Kratos so unique to the universe of Mortal Kombat. But until then guys, that has been it for me. So now, as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.